When we left off, we had just sighted land on the Hawaiian Islands after 34 days at sea from Costa Rica. After sailing more than 4,400 nautical miles, we enjoyed a gorgeous sunrise off the north side of Maui. We were so close to land, but with light to non-existent winds the last few days, our destination of Honolulu still felt a long way away. With some ominous-looking clouds, we hoped for some wind, but found something else instead.
Well, I had to make my way up on deck for this. We've had these pilot whales with us while we've been becalmed here, and we've got at least one that was coming right up to the boat and circling us and coming up and like just checking us out. So Hillary's going to take this time. We'd been talking about her getting in anyway and just having a look at the bottom of the boat before we get into the dock so we can see what the condition is.
We're totally becalmed here. No wind at all, just drifting off the north side of Maui. And this pilot whale's been swimming all around us right up to the boat, jumping. I'm going to see if I can see him. He might have left now, but... It's one dolphin and one pilot whale.
Really?
Yeah. I went down, checked the prop and shaft are completely clean and clear, which is good. The very back bottom of the boat has a ton of gooseneck barnacles on it, which makes sense. It's kind of the slack water on the boat. Tried to give it a little bit of a clean, but we have a breeze all of a sudden, so I'm going to get back on board and maybe we can actually sail.
And this little school approach here.
We're so close, so close. It's been a frustrating last day or two with very, very light winds. We've just kind of been drifting along with maybe an hour or two of a little bit of wind and then back to dead calm and drifting. But the wind has finally filled in, I think maybe for good, and we're making good time towards Honolulu now. It's pretty frustrating after coming so long, so many miles, so many days, to be so close and have all the islands in sight right here and just literally have no wind and not be able to sail to them. We also have our heat exchanger engine overheating issue, so motoring's not an option. So we really just need to have some wind to sail, which we finally do. Have about 80 miles to go now. We're just passing the northern end of Maui. Crossing over, we'll go along the north side of Molokai and then down to Oahu and Honolulu. I just woke up from a little bit of a nap here. Just been doing short naps the last 3 nights now, with Ty not really being able to get out of bed much at all. Luckily the weather's been nice and calm, which means we've been slow, but it's been really easy to manage, which is good. We've been in contact with the harbor in Honolulu, trying to get our slip sorted out and all their kind of bureaucracy things that you need to do. It's not the friendliest harbor that we're going to. It's Alawai Harbor. It's just a lot of government bureaucratic requirements and things that don't necessarily make sense. I'm sure they're all rules and things in place for a reason. Been in contact with customs as well, thanks to my parents who've coordinated a few things. So we're excited to get in, excited to make landfall.
US Coast Guard, US Coast Guard, US Coast Guard, sailing vessel Varuna 16, over.
Sailing vessel Varuna 16,
What do you say?
Go ahead.
Go. Can we go 22 Alpha, please? And just past a large piece of debris, about 20 by 10 feet. I don't know if you would like coordinates for that or anything.
7 that's the way up Costa Rica. Yeah, if we could please go to GPS position and a little description, and we'll provide a hazard to navigation.
Okay, object's position is 21 degrees, 12 minutes, 0.9 north, and 156 degrees, 28 minutes, 0.2 west. 20 by 10 feet, white, looks like it may be a submerged shipping container, possibly. It looks like it had a decent size underwater, and it looked like there was some metallic part to it. It was quite rusted up. It didn't look like wood. Copy?
Thank you, Captain. We'll be shifting back to 16.
Copy, Bruno, back to 16.
Container partially submerged 20 nautical miles north of Kahului, Maui. All mariners are advised to transit with caution and report all sightings to United States Coast Guard Sector Honolulu. This is United States Coast Guard Sector Honolulu, out.
Pretty scary when you come across something like that, especially considering sailing at night. That's something you would never be able to spot at night, and if you hit it at any sort of speed, it would definitely do some serious damage to your boat. And we passed by it pretty close. It was probably less than 100 feet off of our starboard side here. Yeah, scary stuff. We sailed in the sunshine with nice wind along Molokai's northern shore, watching the clouds stack up over the island, which looked as if it were in a perpetual storm. Quite a contrast to the beautiful conditions a few miles away out here. As the sun set, we enjoyed our last night on the water before re-entering the craziness of civilization. Well, we have about an hour and a half until sunrise, and we are approaching Honolulu. Super exciting. We just sailed through the channel between Molokai and Oahu, past our first couple of boats that we've seen in probably 2 weeks. There's a tug and also a cargo ship that passed on by. Made really good time all evening, really nice, consistent winds. I got to get a little bit of sleep. Ty was feeling up to do a watch for a few hours, which was awesome. Now that we've rounded Diamond Head, kind of on the southern side of Oahu, the wind is dying here. We're just kind of drifting along at like 2 or 3 knots, which is perfect. That means the sun should be up before we arrive. We just have, I think, less than 5 miles to go, but we're only drifting at a couple knots. So hopefully we have enough wind to keep on sailing all the way in, at least until we get to the channel to enter the harbor. This evening we topped up our coolant with just fresh water. Before we started up, we'll open it up again and see how well that's held, how severe the leak is, if there's still any water in there or not, or if we need to top it up again right before we start the engine and motor into the harbor. Exciting stuff. 35 days, about 4,400 nautical miles we've sailed so far, and we are almost here. Pretty cool. Well, out there, that is Diamond Head Point. Once we round that, we only have about 3 more miles until we make it to the harbor. Super exciting. I just got off the phone with Customs, advising them of our estimated arrival, and we're going to give the Coast Guard a call on the radio just to cover all our bases, let them know who we are, where we're coming from, and where we're headed. U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Coast Guard. This is the sailing vessel Varuna on 16, over.
Sailing vessel Varuna Sector, go ahead.
Good morning. We are a private sailboat. We are arriving from Costa Rica inbound to Alawai Harbor. We have 2 crew on board. I've already spoken with the U.S. Coast Guard, but just wanted to report in. crazy change to go from seeing nothing for so many days to just come around the corner and have these big mountains, huge, massive city skylines, skyscrapers, boat traffic all around, and a cruise ship was just, looks massive, crazy.
Unfortunately, the radiator does not seem to be holding any fluid at all. As soon as we topped it up, Hillary topped up the header tank last night, it was gone this morning. We noticed the bilge pump running, so we had a hunch, and then this morning you could hear it.
We put some more in this morning, and it literally poured out 10 seconds after we put it in.
From what we can see without getting in there, it definitely looks like it's coming out pretty significantly around that tube stack on the heat exchanger. So we're going to have to see if we want to run that for short periods of time, if we keep topping it up or not. The other thing we're going to do right now is Hillary's about to check the oil and just make sure there's no water in the oil or anything like that. And we're only about 2 miles out, so we need to decide if we're going to get a tow in, sail in, which there's no wind to do, or turn the motor on.
Alright, so the oil looks good, so that is good news. Just the heat exchanger issue. There's Waikiki in the background there, Diamond Head, and Varuna. So I'm going to finish up what I didn't get to do yesterday because we got some wind fill in, and scrape off those gooseneck barnacles. Well, as you can probably see behind me, the water is glassy, glassy calm. Not a single breath of wind around. We are just about a mile outside the entrance to Alawai Harbor. We took a look at our heat exchanger again. We added water to it kind of in the middle of the night and checked it this morning. All of that water was gone already. We tried adding some more water, and with it being all quiet here, we could hear it drained out basically as soon as we poured it in. It's not holding any water at all in there. We decided it would be best not to push it, not to run the motor, and risk doing any further damage. So we are just out here waiting for a tow into the harbor. Someone should be on their way soon, and we're just hanging out, drifting around, getting everything cleaned up and organized on the boat. Getting towed into the harbor was quite the unceremonious arrival after sailing such a long way. But regardless of how we arrived, we felt very accomplished and happy to have such a long journey under our belts. Here we go, our final mile of the journey. Getting towed, new experience, into the harbor.
So not because we need a tow, this is the welcome party. We're going to have water cannons and everything.
Yeah!
Maybe that was my dream, that's the drugs, but... Come up this way, steer up. Got it.
So how long did it take you to get here to Costa Rica?
Costa Rica?
This is day 36 for us.
Holy
35 full days. A long time.
Yeah, that's you guys are quite the sailors.
After coordinating on the phone, we timed it perfectly, and the immigration officers arrived right as we pulled into the dock to stamp our passports and get us checked in.
Yeah, but we know that's still your A number, right?
Yeah,
So we always put an A in front of it.
Okay.
We know it's your A number. All right, well, we're gonna let you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
I think we killed enough time.
Made it seem official enough.
Yeah. Had to make it seem
Well, you
right.
take care. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out.
Free to leave the boat ourselves, we had to wait for customs to arrive before we could take anything off the boat. They completed their paperwork and inspection, collected our trash, and then it was time to relax. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to give us a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe. Until next time, adios.